Hey everybody, welcome back to DSC Healthy Living, and this is video number 3 of this series that I'm doing. And again, if you are just tuning into this one, you might want to watch video 1 and 2 first. We are talking about creating willpower, so you will have a successful health journey, and by creating a healthy environment. So the last video was about creating a healthy environment in your pantry, your fridge, and your freezer. So we're talking about all these different areas of your day that interacts with your environment, or that affects your environment. So that's what we're trying to make sure you change. And all this, you can't change at one time. Again, that's one good thing about our program that I absolutely love, is that it teaches you little habits as you go along the way. Because if you are just overwhelmed with so much change at one time, again, we've talked about change, nobody likes it. So it little increments, and then it sticks, and then it becomes part of your daily habit, and then you go on to the next one. So today we're going to talk about well, this is the same day. I told y'all I was doing all these videos in one day, so same shirt. Anyway, today we're going to talk about preparing your food and storing your food. Now, when I talk about preparing your food, this is not about meal prepping. What I mean is like when you're actually fixing dinner. So the different things you can do to make that environment less tempting. So, and if you are interested in meal prep, there is a video on this channel that I did about my meal prepping too. So you can go back to that one if you are more interested in meal prepping. So as far as preparing your food, let's start with that. One of the obvious ways that you can keep from eating too much is to serve less food, right? And if you're like me and you come from, like my mom, love her to death, but she cooked for a big family. So that was something, when I remember being at home, she would usually cook bigger portions of food, or we'd have more of it. So then we'd think we'd need to eat more. So anyway, so if you fix less, you eat less. And another way, there's 4 main ways that you can do this too that are great options, and that's using a smaller plate. Okay, so in order to eat less, we'll use a smaller plate, and it's not one with side planks. Some of those plates, and if you think about even like throwaway paper plates, like the Chinette, if you're getting it for a cookout or whatnot, they'll have those big oval plates, and they'll be deep and have side planks. That's what I call them. So your food won't spill over, and you can just keep piling up. So get flat plates. You don't want the side planks. And just a little tidbit here too, the history of the dinner plate. We'll talk about this, and you'll see that it actually corresponds with the increase in obesity. So in the 60s, the standard size plate was like 8.5 to 9 inches. And a plate that size usually would hold around probably 800 calories. And then we got to the 80s, and that plate size went up to about 10 inches. And that holds about, I'd say, 1,000 calories. And in the early 2000s, it went up to like probably 11-inch plate. It just each kind of couple 10, I don't know, probably 10, 20 years, it would go up and increase. And like an 11-inch plate, probably going to hold 1,500, 1,600 calories. Now, today, the size of a plate is still like 11 to 12 inches, but the 12-inch plates are especially used by restaurants. And they think, the big plates. Now, some restaurants you go to, you're going to get little tiny portions. It depends on what type of restaurant you're at. But the traditional good old hometown cooking restaurants, and again, this is kind of like different this day and age too. But you know, traditionally it was, they would serve you more and give you a lot more of that food. So you'd be like, oh gosh, we got to come back here. This was just awesome. We got all this food. So that's, you know, why they like using those big plates too. But a 12-inch plate, you're looking at 1,900, 2,000 calories. So that's a lot of food, and that's a lot of, you know, that's more than what you would want to eat in a day in that one meal. So, and that was, you know, that probably in the late 2000s that did that. So I want to show you some plates. And I want to show you the traditional, well, this is actually marketed as a 7-inch plate, okay? Now, this is bigger than 7 inches. It's actually about 10.5 inches this way. But if you see this inner circle, I'm going to flip it over so you can actually see the inner circle here. That is about, from my fingertip to fingertip, is about 7 inches. So when you feel, but if you fill this plate up, you've got this extra edge, and it's lifted a little bit. It's not really side plates. This is about as flat as plate as you're going to get. But so if you have a plate like this, and I didn't buy new plates when I started this, I had already had these. So I just knew that I just filled, you know, use that inner circle. I didn't try to fill it up to the edge. Another plate that we had here, this was actually a camping plate. And this one is really great because of the sections of the dividers. Again, it's about 10 inches width-wise, but from inside to inside, like this area in here to this area in here, is about 7 inches. And if you'll notice this bigger section here, and then the two smaller sections. So this larger section, the standard rule is like half of your plate should be your vegetables. Or like you can take 3/4 of this section and be vegetables, and then 1/4 of this section be like some berries. You know, you're gonna throw some fruit in there. Then you want your protein in this section, and if you'll notice, it's kind of the size of the palm of your hand. So that's generally like a serving size. So your a portion of protein, and then you have your starch, like you know, your black beans, or just a good option there. Brown rice. But anyway, so that's why the divided plates are great to give you that visual and help you to learn how to have a proper plate. They actually have some awesome plates too online that, especially for kids, it has like diagrams and pictures, and shows them exactly how they should be eating. So we lead by example, right? So if we're not eating right and doing healthy things for our bodies, we're not teaching our kids to do the same. So keep that in mind. Also, the plates, the colors, let me mention that too. A plate color, this is white, and let's just say you did decide to have mashed potatoes. So this, you had the white mashed potatoes, and you put your big couple scoops against this white plate, there's no contrast. So you're not thinking you're eating that much. But if you would take and put potatoes in this section, you're going to see, and you try to heap it up, I mean, it's the contrast of it's going to be like, oh, I shouldn't be eating that much. That's a lot of potatoes. But you won't see that on the white plate. So green plates are a good option too, because the vegetables, you really want to eat more vegetables. You know, that's the key to healthy living, right? So that there was no contrast there. So green on green, great. You know, but you're getting a lot of food there. Okay. So that's another way, and also eating more vegetables makes you feel fuller too. So that was actually the second way, using cuddle plates. So I just kind of jumped ahead there. The third way to do this is to use like large glasses of water. And that's, if you go to a restaurant, you usually, they'll ask you if you want water. Now they'll, you know, bring a pitcher. Some used to, they would leave the pitcher on the table. But that is something you want to do at home. Make sure you are giving everybody water to eat. I mean, to drink when they're eating supper. And also, if they would drink a large glass of water before supper, that's going to help them feel fuller too. Before any meal would be great. But leave that water on the table to encourage them to refill their glasses with water. And also, let's see, and you know, of course, you're going to eat less. But another way is to serve, the fourth way is to serve from the kitchen. So if you have ever been to a family dinner, a lot of times they will have they put as many dishes and plates in the center of the table as they can, so it's easier to grab and get refills. You don't want to do that. Leave everything on the stove top, and this is every day. Just go in there and fix your portion plate on your correct plate, and then go sit at the table. And that way, and sometimes if you want to even go ahead and put the leftovers up before you even sit down to eat, you can do that too. And make sure everybody's sitting at the table and not in front of the TV. This is a pet peeve of mine, and I still have to work on that with some people in our household sometimes. But anyway, the eating at the table is something that has just been a tradition that's been long gone, and we need to have that back. That's when you should be having conversations with your kids and listening to one another, interacting with one another without the phones, without the TV, without any electronic device. Good thing to do, since there's no food in the middle of the table, you can take and put all electronic devices in the middle of the table. So you'd be surprised how addictive that is, and the kids automatically want to reach for those phones. So try that one night and see how long it takes them to try to want to reach for that phone. And turn them on silent, by the way, or even turn them off. Don't even have them on the table. But anywho, and while you're sitting there too, like while you're eating dinner, and just to have everybody to go around the table and share one positive thing that happened to them that day. Sometimes when you're together like that, it tends to be, oh my gosh, you won't believe what happened to me when I was at Walmart. This woman, blah, blah, and it starts negative, and then it just, and what kind of mood is that, We don't want to focus on the negative stuff. We want to focus on the positive stuff, which makes all those good chemicals going in our brain and helps everything in general. So do that, and after eating, it's a good time for family time too. You have the kids help you to clean the table, dishes off, get prepped for the next day, have them do their lunches if they're packing lunches, or, whatever they have to do for the next day. If you're making coffee, go ahead and do the automatic coffee pot. Get anything done to help your next morning start off easier. So get all that taken care of, and then make a game night. Now, I know that everybody can't, make every night game night, but that would be something awesome for like one night a week. Especially younger kids, they will look forward to that and every week, and they will cherish that time. So make that, the time you get together and do board games. Something that we love to do is, like, we have this family questions 10. This is an old 10 that I've had in the family for a long time. But it used to be like fruitcake. But anyway, so we made these questions, and they're just filled with little folded up pieces of paper. You grab one, and then you read the question. And it's just questions that encourage conversation. So sometimes you're sitting there because of the electronic device deal, you don't know what you're doing. Or you don't know how to talk to each other. So this says, what is your favorite family tradition? And this is a good topic because sometimes people don't even have traditions. So this would be like, well, what would you like to start doing as a family? Okay, we need to go hiking up to South Mountain, once a month. Or we need to go visit Grandma like we used to and sit on the porch, every Sunday afternoon. Whatever, just, create topics of conversation. I have really got off topic here, but anyway. Serve your food from your kitchen only, from the stovetop. I don't know how I got into all that. But anyway, storage. So when you want to store your food, oh gosh, I went over. When you want to store your food, and if the family's not on board yet to store their food properly, or to, golly. Okay, if the family's not on board to eat healthy yet, and so you might have to if you're serving them pizza and you're trying to eat your salmon and asparagus, you don't want to put that pizza in the refrigerator in saran wrap so you can see it. And it, anything at eyeball level, when you open that fridge, is the first thing you see. So make sure anything, like you got the fridge like we do, the fridge is on top. But anyway, so make sure that the visible things that you see are the healthy food. The bad stuff, make sure it's stored in aluminum foil or in a container that's not visible. You can use the country Tupperware. If you don't know what country Tupperware is from our neck of the woods, that's Cool Whip bowls. So, or butter bowls. Anything like this, it's just a guess. You're like, what's in it? I don't know. So if you have to look for it, you won't really want to have it. So put it in your Cool Whip bowls or your butter bowls. Anyway, so another thing too, if the kids will not eat healthy, I have learned that if they grow healthy food, if they have a part of that, the garden season's coming up too. We're going to plant garden this weekend. So get the kids involved in that, and that will be a memory they will cherish too. But if they grow something and they have to go out there and tend to it and they see it growing, they will want to try to eat it more than likely. So I just discovered these. I want to show this right quick too. These are like mushroom kits. And you can't look, see how they're grown from the side. This is like 3 days of growth. Once you start watering it and it starts growing, it takes off. But you know, the kids are gonna be like, oh gosh, when are we gonna get to eat those? You know, they don't look too appealing right now, but they will. But anyway, so have them grow it. Another little trick there. But if they won't try to eat healthy, just stay the course and start trying to instill little habits like this into their day, so that way they will want to try to eat a healthy eventually, you know. Let's see. I already talked about that. Put it in the back. Oh, and once you have reached a healthy weight, if you're on my plan, peeps, you know, we are not a big fan. We're a big fan of fruit, but right now some of the fruit has a lot of sugar, so we need to watch that. So, but after you have reached a healthy weight, instead of having a big bowl of snacks of Lance crackers and things like that, have your, you know, your fruit. Have some apples in there. A great portable option for a snack. I can't stress this enough. Don't bring unhealthy food in the house. If you bring unhealthy food in, you're going to want to eat it. So just don't bring it in. And when you're shopping, don't go shopping when you're stressed out or emotional. You know, that's when you're going to want to, you know, buy all that stuff that you don't really need. And when you do go shopping, shop around the perimeter of the grocery store. If you think about that, that's where your vegetables, your meat, your fresh food, all of that's on the perimeter on the outside. Those inner aisles is where you're going to get all the processed stuff. But, you know, you will go down the frozen food section to get your frozen veggies or whatnot. And you might have to go down the bean aisle to get some dry beans. But anyway, that's what you normally want to do. And you know, emotions and stress, they just cause a lot of areas of the brain to make you crave sugar and fat and salt. So if you start having that nagging feeling like you really want to, you're craving something, just stop and drink a glass of water and remove yourself from that environment, especially like if you're out and about, if you're at the mall, for instance, don't go to the food court. You know, get away from the food court, go get your business done and get out of there. But anyway, so environment, storage, prep, food, plates, all that good stuff. All right, guys, I went over and I'm out of here. And remember to like, subscribe, comment. Why can I never remember this, Caitlin? Share and share. I got to make me a big banner. I'm sorry, guys. All right, see you on the next one. Bye, guys.